Hello, and welcome back to Copilot Learning Hub, the show. I know you all are very, very excited, as am I, because today's guest needs absolutely no introduction. Please welcome to our show, April Dunnam. Hi, April.
Hey, Donna. Thanks for having me on Copilot Learning Hub.
Thank you so much for joining us. I have been so excited about this episode because one of my favorite products, Power Apps, has gotten, of course, the Copilot treatment, but I had no idea how many things you actually could do with the various Copilot capabilities within Power Apps. And the demo that you walked me through the other day was so interesting and so cool, we knew we had to get you on air and share with the audience.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of new features here, so I'm really excited to be here and show them.
Okay, so first, tell us what you're going to show us.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of do a complete walkthrough of all of the Copilot capability that we have in Power Apps, starting with the newer ability to be able to create multi-table applications with Copilot. So I'll actually generate an entity relationship diagram to show you how you can relate all these different tables for your solution and build a working application for you. And then we can add Copilot capability for our end users into the app.
Okay, so you're going to use Copilot to build a Copilot.
Pretty much.
That's pretty wild. Okay, I love this. Please, by all means, show us.
Okay. Hey, so we're going to start in make.powerapps.com. And if we go over here, we have all these different ways we can create an app. So we can create an app right on the homepage with Copilot, but we can also start with our data. So that's what I'm going to do here. So we're going to choose Start with Data, and we can actually create tables directly from the screen. So I can start with Copilot right here and just describe what I want to build. So I have a little prompt that I put together here, and I want to build a recognition system for my employees so that they can go and give people praise. So I'm just telling it what I want to have. So an employee recognition system that should allow employees to submit multiple awards. And I'm even including some information like the categories that I want: team player, leader, problem solver, and ally. So with that simple prompt, I can first, before I click generate though, let's look at some of these table options because we can define further kind of the parameters for what we want to have here. So if I know that I want to have multiple tables, which is the default, I can do that. But we can also choose the table size. So if we know this could be a lot of data, we can kind of change that to large and whether we want to have this do the relationships for us. So these are all settings that we can configure before Copilot even does its job. Now we can just say generate, and that will go take the prompt and create a entity diagram for me that I can then keep tweaking with Copilot if I need to, and then have that go and create the application based off of the data structure for us. So you can see how fast that was. I barely finished explaining it, and it created all of the tables for me, which is really cool.
Okay, I have to tell you,
what you're seeing here,
I like all those choices and which kind of table you want to build, the size of the table, et cetera, et cetera. That is new. That is definitely new. That's very cool.
Yep. Brand new. Yeah, so what it's really showing us here is a simple two-table solution. So we need somewhere to store the employees. So we can click on any of these and we can view data. And the thing that I love about Copilot is I hated when I was building applications having to add in a bunch of sample data just to make sure that my app was working. Now Copilot does that for us. So we can see all the sample data for the different columns that it created to track the employee name, department, and position. So I can see this, and I can either use Copilot to manage this, or I can even directly create new columns and even add new sample data manually here. Now, the other thing it did for us is recognize that there needs to be a relationship between the employees and the awards. So you see this little icon right here is showing that it defined a relationship for us, and which is many to one. So I was able to take what I put in and recognize that relationship. What I could make changes here as well. So if it needs to be one to many or whatever that needs to be, I can manually make those changes too. So I have complete control over what Copilot's doing for me here and everything it's creating. Now, if we look at the award one here, let's just see what kind of data that it has. So it looks like it did pass in those award categories like I wanted, but one thing that I see is missing is it really doesn't have a comments field. So when someone's submitting an award for someone, I want them to be able to put in a nice note of why they were giving that award. So I can ask Copilot to help me with that. So one thing you'll notice here in the right-hand side is we have this view prompts option. So we can ask it to do all kinds of things. So we can have it create stuff for us if we think a table is missing, or we can have it say create columns for us. So that's what I'm going to do. And let's say I'll just paste in this. I want to create columns for an award table called comments. So I want to have that comments column, and that should be able to pass that into Copilot so it can go and add that additional column in this table for us. And it should, when it does that, add some sample data. So there we go. So now we have that comments field, and there's all of the sample data for us in there. So that alone is pretty cool to be able to just manipulate all of this here. But the other thing that we can do is have it add more sample data if we want to for us. So I can say, let's see, or I can do it manually too. So I can have it go and add an employee. So we can go in here and I can just put in a little something for myself. So I can, mix and match kind of manual typing, and then let's see, DevRel, there we go. And working with Copilot as well. So now we have kind of our data. If it all looks good, I can say we're good to go, and we can save and open the app. So this is going to go and save all of these Dataverse tables. That's what this is in the backend. It's creating these 2 Dataverse tables for us with that relationship, and now it's going to create a fully responsive and functional Canvas application for us in Power Apps based off of this data.
Okay, I love that setting up this Dataverse tables, both of them, was actually a fairly straightforward activity versus the not straightforward activity it could be in the past.
Yeah, it was you had to know the ins and outs of Dataverse. So this is theoretically, if you've never touched Dataverse in your life, you could just have Copilot help you and create the application. So it really is making it faster and easier than ever to be able to start building Power Apps.
I like that you can not just create new Dataverse tables, but modify the ones that are there with more data here, less data, clean this, add this, et cetera, because that's common. It's very rare you build a data source from scratch. Usually you get handed one, right? And you have to make it work for some new thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the options that we had there in Copilot was to import data. So we can import directly from Excel or SharePoint with Copilot also. So that's a newer functionality that was just added too.
Oh, I like that a lot because that is so common, right? Here's 10 different data sources. Use them to do something useful. Oh, something's going on with your app.
All right, now, so you see it only took a few minutes there, and it's created an application for us. And if we kind of look at what it did, it created a welcome screen. So it has 2 things that we want to manage: the employees that can submit these recognitions and the awards. So if we look at the data section here, those are those 2 tables that it created for us. And we can see these are all clickable. So if I were to play this application, I go to awards. Now it takes me to a screen where I can see all the awards, and I can add a new award right here for anyone that I want to in the organization. So it is a fully functional app. As I mentioned, it is responsive. So we can go into any one of these, change this to what it would look like on an iPhone and see what it would look like, all without me having to do any additional work right here with Copilot.
Wow. Okay, this is cool. First, I like this app. This is a good app just in general because it is kind of like the Thrive or Kudos or whatever app that companies have. But I like that how much customization you were able to do, like put in the categories, like add a note, do this, do that. Very cool.
Yeah, so much you can do. And, even if it's not strictly Copilot related, some new functionality that we have in Power Apps as well. If I want to have icons or custom graphics on this landing screen, I can click on any one of these here. And now we have stock images baked in. So we can go and upload a stock image for the award. So I can search for award and start building out my UI pretty easily. So there's a nice graphic for that. And it'll update the app. So we don't have to go hunt for images ourselves and upload those. We can just get that right from the stock images.
I do love the ability to add a stock image. That's really cool.
Yeah, so the other thing that we can do with Copilot in Power Apps is have it generate PowerFX code for us, which is the programming language behind Canvas apps. So I can go into this label right here in the color property, and I can act like I'm adding in a comment, which I can with the 2 forward slashes. So I can ask it to check on the award category and see if it's leader. I want to make the color green. So you see when I did that, it's kind of has like below like a GitHub Copilot type thing where it's giving us an example of a formula, and I just pressed tab and it applied that formula for me. So I can make one small tweak here, and then we have a working formula to be able to, now you can see leader is colored in green. So this is just an example of what we can do with this to generate some PowerFX.
This makes me happy because all of the folks who do low-code work or no-code work, and they say, I would do code work, but I feel like I need to learn to code. This is a good way to do basic, simple formulas with help in the little box you already know, using the language you already know. But you still have to be knowledgeable in logic and things, which is great. I love this. This is awesome.
Exactly. It's just going to help you, it'll go a little bit faster with this, but yeah, I still need to know what you're doing behind the scenes with Power Effects for sure, but it's definitely helpful.
Love it.
Now, so far though, we've looked at, how we can help build an application with Copilot, and there's all kinds of things we can do as well. So we have a Copilot with us in the maker experience. So if we want to easily add a new screen, I can do that with Copilot. So I can say create, and then I can just say add a new screen. And it will do that for me, and I can be as specific as I want to if I want to have it add certain objects to the screen, like a gallery and all that. But the thing, I think a magic happens when we start to add Copilot to our Power Apps that we're building for our end users. So there's capability in there to be able to embed a Copilot in your Power App to help your end users. So that's the next thing I wanted to show you. If you go to Insert here, we have a Copilot control. We actually have two. We have Copilot and Copilot Answer. So let's look at the Copilot one. So this is allowing us to bind the Copilot to the data source in our app. So I can say if I want to answer questions about who has the most awards, I can bind it to this awards data source, and it can do that. But the other thing that it can do, which I think is what makes it really powerful, is we can bind this same control to a Copilot in Copilot Studio. So yeah, so that's really, so I have a simple Copilot that I built here to answer questions about employees. So it's going to look up some of their information. I can find out what skills they are. So if I want to get a little bit more background information on the employee for my recognition, I can do that with this Copilot. So I can just copy the schema name of this Copilot, and then I can go into the Copilot control and paste that in, and that's going to bind this control in Power Apps to that Copilot. So now I can start interacting that with this Copilot just like I would in Copilot Studio.
I love that.
So if I were to, so now this is, imagine an end user is in here using the app and they want to submit an award, but they want to learn more information about someone that they're submitting it for. I can ask, what are Dona Sarkar's specialties?
Mostly yelling.
And that will go out using, it'd be interesting to see what it says here, but it will go out, and I already trained the Copilot Studio Copilot on some knowledge. So I gave it some background information on you, Donna, and it's going to go take that information and see what it comes up with here based off your LinkedIn in this case.
Oh, that's going to be funny.
That'll go and
it's going to say tweeting. It's going to say tweeting. I'm just telling you right now. It's like,
hopefully.
Kudos, Donna, on your amazing tweeting. What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? This is pretty accurate. Public speaking and advocacy, writing and authorship, entrepreneurship, fashion design. I mean, I think
it actually did a good job pulling some information. Wow. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. I love that.
Not bad.
This inbuilt Copilot that you can jam in is actually it's pretty sophisticated. It can do an extension to something else. Okay. So that was amazing. You showed us how you can build an app from, first you generate a data source with sample data, which is the most annoying thing in the whole world. Second, generate an app with like welcome screen, this and that you can now work with. Then you can actually write code to adjust your app using PFX. And then you can embed a Copilot Studio Copilot into that app. 4 Copilot things in one demo, as only April can do, by the way. But this was so cool. I had no idea Power Apps had all of these things, because the last time I tried it, you can like vaguely generate an app from a prompt. But now there's so much richness. I think just building like a really good data store to build an app from, that's just magic right there. That is really cool.
Yeah, it's evolving really fast. So new things are being added all the time, it seems, for Copilot Power Apps. It just keeps getting better and better.
I love it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Copilot Learning Hub Live. Okay, so one huge request we've been getting from folks, all of you out there, are, can you show us a few more good prompts for the Power Platform? All over the Power Platform are these little prompty boxes, and we say, write words in them, do good things. And we don't specify what words to write or what good things to do. So we decide to bring along an expert, and she's probably someone who's very familiar to all of you in the Power Platform and dynamic space. Everyone, please welcome Ana Inés Urrutia to our show today. Hello, Anna.
Hi, how are you, Donna? All good?
I'm so good. Please introduce yourself, reintroduce yourself to all of our amazing watchers.
Hi everyone, my name is Inés Urrutia, but Anna is fine. I'm an MVP and I've been MVP since 2020, so I'm quite proud of that. And I work a lot with AI, and that means that prompting within Power Platform, it's a big thing for me. I do work with Power Platform and also Dynamics, and I really like my focus, and you will see this in the example that I have today. It's mainly on the HR space.
I love this because you are so passionate about making sure that people who work in HR have the right tools to do their job. And this has long been such an underserved, I don't know, invested in area, because people say, oh, okay, we'll think about HR later. And it never gets the attention of like legal or finance or all of these things. And you have such an interesting background because you come from a psychology background, and you said, wait, I can do a lot with applying psychology and tech, and now AI combined into really bringing so much focus on AI and HR, specifically around Copilots and Power Platform Dynamics. So I love the work you do because you have such a good niche. When I talk about career niche, I always point to you because you have crafted such a good one for yourself, and something that applies to every company in the world and organization in every country. So thank you. Thank you for that work.
Of course.
Okay, so
Yeah, absolutely. If I may add something there, Donna,
please.
I think also it's one of the business that does not have a lot of attention, as you said, and it's so easy to help them that I hope this gives inspiration to everyone out there to improve their HR department.
I love that. Okay, so if HR people who know HR people, pay attention because these are going to help you in your business. All right, show us. What have we got?
Good. So there are two main things that we have within Power Platform that can help or that are relatable to prompting engineer. So as you're seeing here, we're in the powerapps.com, and you can see here that we already have a prompt that we could use. I'm not going to walk you through how to create an application from here, but you can track it. You can try it. Here you can see that you have some examples, and I really invite you to create one of this. We're not going to see that today. What we're going to see is how we can use AI prompts and prompts within the applications. So I will show you here in the side of Power Apps menu, we have AI Hub. We go here, and you will see that there's plenty of stuff happening, and this here in the top will move and so on. But don't worry. We're going to go to prompts because this is what we want to work with. And within prompts, you can see that we have plenty of information or plenty of things we could use. The one that I'm going to show you today is this extract information and then summarize text. So I will show you a real example of how we did it with a real use case. So here you can see that if we select the prompt itself as extract information from text, we will have an example, and then we can add our input in this case, which is the sample. We could add the simple data and then test it in order to understand how this prompt works. The good thing about these prompts that we have here is that we can reuse them into applications or Power Automates, flows, or any other most of the things that we have in Power Platform. So you can see that it's not a lot, but it's quite good, and it can be then used. So what you will create is your AI prompt library, and April has made a lot of work and videos about it, so you can find that there, and you will have them here. And that means that if you have them here, it means that they can be consumed by your apps or your automations. One thing that I will show you before we dive into the example that I have is you see that here we are in Power Apps and MakeThatPowerApps.com. But if we go to MakeThatPowerAutomate.com, you can see that we also have the AI Hub. So it doesn't matter really where you're consuming the AI Hub, you will find the same information, and you will find the AI prompts because it's a library that is cross platforms. And that means that you can consume it from one place or the other. You see that it's the same, just changes the color, and that's it. What I would like to show you today about prompting is my friend Anisa and I, we created an application that is for tracking candidates. And what we did is we created an AI prompt. That is the one that I will show you in a minute. That pretty much what it does is extracts all these fields that I mentioned, extracts all this information, personal information from a CV, from a document, and then using this AI prompt, just reads all that information and brings it together in a short summary. So for people who are interviewing and it takes ages to review all the CVs, you have everything here in one place. This took us a lot of work.
Yeah, this looks like a lot of work right here. And you know, I talk about this use case all the time. How can recruiters and HR people look at a whole bunch of CVs using prompts rather than opening each one? But you've actually built the thing. That's great. Yep.
We did it. Yes. Denise Amihai and myself, we did it together. We worked in the architecture. And yeah, the idea was to have something, and we didn't use, so everything that you're seeing here is low code. We didn't use any very, very deep code. We just have our, the CV, the PDF that I will open so you can see it. And you can see that we have a CV that has its structured document with all the information, but it doesn't have there's not any, we're not trying to fool you. We didn't create anything in the back that's written from Power Platform that's taking exactly what it is, but it's working in the back. So we have and we did on the Marvel universe because I don't know, my friend likes it.
Because that's funny though. It's funny. I like it.
So yeah, these prompts that, or yeah, what this prompt that I show you here make, it's basically extract all this information and then create the summarization. That the summarization, we try to make it a little bit fun because it is demo purposes, but you can see that they're fun, they're not very formal, but you can tailor that based on your business. Before I show you a bit more about prompting, I would like to tell you that this is also, while this is a very niche let's say, concept for HR or application for HR, this can be used in many scenarios. So it can be used, for example, in client proposals. I also see it in finance. So, while this is just a use case, it can be relatable to other businesses as well.
I love it.
Good.
I can completely see this being used for like, when you do like a call for proposals for hiring a vendor to come work on some project for you, like videos, like you're saying, finance, legal, events, all sorts of things. Anytime you're collecting, or grants, actually, right? Anyone who does grants, like please submit your grant proposal. Looking through large batches of documents that are similarly themed with a few keywords that you know is gonna show up in every single one, which is so cool. Yeah. I love it. I love this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was thinking about, when you were talking, I was thinking about the RFPs and all of that pieces that you will receive as a company that require a lot of processing. So we use the AI prompts. We also use AI Builder or AI models. I don't know the name this week, but we use both of them. And I will show you that in a minute. But here you can see that we also have Copilot. So this is the other place where we can prompt, right? And this is where things can go downhill or uphill, depending on the skill that you have on prompt engineering. Actually, just as a short, like between brackets, I've learned how to prompt based on Microsoft Designer because I know what I want to achieve, and I use it as an excuse. So I will be writing a blog about that and how to like practice, right, your skills on prompting. It's like an early stage of prompting within Power Platform. So here it's where you are going to actually ask the application what you want. So here you see that in the home page, we have a list of candidates, a lot of candidates, right? So as a person that works in HR, I don't have enough time. Well, in here we have 23, but I don't have time to read all those CVs. So I'm going to ask for, tell me about the candidate Tony Stark, for example. And let's see if it works, because that's when we'll see if the prompt engineering is correct. See, it's not correct. Oh. So we can be clear, a bit more clear. I would like to know the details on the experience for the candidate Tony Stark, and hopefully this will retrieve,
live Copilot
a little bit
demos
more
are,
of
my God.
There you go. So you can see the difference between the prompts, right?
Yeah.
The first one is a bit, doesn't have the context. It doesn't have the outcome that I want to, it's very open. And that means that it's not the Copilot in the back is not able to retrieve actually the information because it doesn't understand the context. But then in the second one, it's like, I want to know the details of the experience of this candidate. So I'm providing the where, who, and what I want to extract. Here is giving us just a short, summary, and then if I want to know a bit more, I can select, and I will dive into Tony Stark, record, let's say. I will try another prompt that it's instead of me asking for a person or a candidate, it's the application finding a candidate for a certain vacancy. Which candidate has a PhD in physics? Because the job opening that I have, it requires a PhD in physics. So if this, so there's no candidate with PhD physics. You can see, but we can find someone else. Like, do we have any candidate with cyber security education? And this should give is, if I'm not wrong, it should give us back some results, and we can dive into those results as well. So basically, no, I'm not lucky today. I don't know what's going on.
It's Copilot being Copilot-y.
Yes, exactly. So let's do something. Let's see if this one will work. Please retrieve the candidates that have experience in private investigation. So the idea of this Copilot on the side, it's actually the Copilot on the side, right? So we can ask the questions and we can get the results. Might be that in this case, I do not have any candidate with cybersecurity, or it might be that the model will require some reviews. But here, when we ask for the private investigation experience, because I double check, we can see that Jessica Jones has that, and if we scroll down, we see here that the specialty is private investigation. So you could see from the start how different prompts get different results. Also, prompts might not get results because you don't have the data in your application.
Right.
And also, like how being quite clear, it makes a lot of sense for prompting.
I love that, how you showed this difference, right, between a generic prompt and something so specific have a much better a much better user prompt to really, direct the LLM to give you what you're looking for. So that's great. I love that. So do you think...
Thank you so much.
Do you think that this is something that people who work in HR should be trained in when they are early in their career? Because it's not intuitive, right, to people who've never done AI before. Like, you want me to ask what in this box, right? You can't just search for, like, Tony Stark and get responses. It's a completely different... It's a different thought process. It's a different method of even thinking about it. So are you seeing opportunities for people to go and train HR staff on doing these things? Is it a thing you do?
It's something that I do. It's something that I'm very passionate. I think that it helps a lot to reduce the workload.
Yes.
And I was talking with a friend, that we both know, and he said that now that we use AI in almost everything, why aren't we not using it in some businesses? And why are we not learning how to prompt within our work environment? I think it's crucial for HR to start using these sort of skills. It will make the difference between people who will thrive in their careers and people who will survive until that one point and then no longer will survive.
That's exactly it.
So I love it.
I love it too. This is great. This is awesome.
This is our model that's from AI that is recognized in all these fields, that has the name, the email, the phone, and so on. And we train this model so we can extract the data. That is not prompting, but it's also being able to understand where the data sits and creating the collections and also train those collections. I will work on this AI prompt summarization to make sure we figure it out.
Yeah. But, you know what I think is so cool is that all this stuff is so new. It's like a few months old. That's it. And you already are finding so many interesting use cases for it and are figuring out like, okay, here's an AI tool. Here are the set of scenarios that it's really good for. And here's the set of scenarios it's not good for. And I think so much of AI is that. It's not just, hey, here's a tool, apply it to everything. No, there's a set of projects that it's awesome for and a set it's really, no. And I think the more we train and help people with that part, the more effective they'll be, right? Because so much of it is when to use AI. And I know you and I talk about this excessively. Like AI is awesome, but it's also expensive and unpredictable, like us. So really, it's a matter of like, when do you apply the expensive and unpredictable thing compared to when do you just need a normal old search?
Yeah, I think that's one of the main things that businesses are facing at the moment. Everyone wants AI, but no one really knows what they want. And also, like does it make sense? How much does it cost? I put this example a lot, but how much does it cost for a person to do this compared to how much it costs a model or AI model or Power Platform to create this for you?
Right.
For you, might be that makes sense, might be that it doesn't make sense. Right. So it's a case that needs to be studied before jumping directly into AI or everywhere.
Exactly. It's like, what problem are you trying to solve? Can you solve it without AI? And will AI make the solution so much better, so much faster, so much cheaper? And once you know that, then go investigate this model, that model, this tool, that tool, right? Ultimately, it's yet another piece of technology, and it applies to certain scenarios where it makes sense. Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm fully with you.
And this has been a fascinating conversation. Thank you for the entire lesson in some of the intricacies of HR systems and the spectacular pain in the neck of looking at a million resumes. And what are some of the ways that people in HR and recruiting can make their lives a little less terrible when going through this process that's so hard anyway? It's just tooling, right? Good tooling.
Yeah.
And the ability to get trained up and how to use it.
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm loving advocating for AI for HR. So any use case that you have in mind, just let me know and I will create it probably.
I love it. You heard her, listeners, viewers. If you have HR use cases, HR scenarios that you think are really annoying right now, and you're wondering if AI can apply to it, reach out to Anna. She is the expert. She's the foremost expert on the planet of AI and HR. There's one person looking at this that I have seen, and it is this woman right here. So don't sleep on it, because you know your org has HR issues. We all know that. So yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Anna, and thank you all for joining in to another episode of Copilot Learning Hub Live.